Peace, family. Hey, y'all. Hey, I am back. I'm headed back. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Listen, I miss y'all. I really do miss you guys so much. But y'all know, a lot of you know that, I have been grieving. I lost my best friend. So it's been tough, it's been tough. Listen, right after I moved, everything just started happening. She became ill, went into hospice. It's just been a lot. And then eventually she transitioned. And so, yeah, so I have been going through a lot, y'all. And so one of the things that I love to do is if I'm going through something, I need to be able to create the space that I need to process, grieve, and all of those things, right? And I do what I tell my clients to do all the time. Sometimes we get so focused on keeping it moving. I don't have time to grieve. I don't have time to cry. We don't have time for those things. We got to keep it moving. No. You need to process your pain. You need to process it. In order to heal, you got to feel. Going through life suppressing feelings and pretending that something isn't bothering you and pretending, that it's no big deal and all those things, that is not healthy. It is not emotionally healthy, right? And so we have to allow ourselves a space to process our pain, right? Grief could be a long process. So it's about managing it along the way, okay? And so because of the initial shock, because of, the initial feelings of pain and, all those things, right? Going through all the different phases, still going through all the different phases, right? I had to create some space for myself. So, and I wanted to be able to come out here to do a video without breaking down in the middle of the video. Okay, so listen. So anyway, thank y'all so much. Y'all have been hanging in there with me. I love y'all. I love y'all so much because you guys have been hanging in there with me. And we've gotten new subscribers. So thank y'all so much for believing in our growing global community. Okay, so y'all, so listen, I want to talk to the people who's thinking about moving abroad. Listen, I like to tell y'all everything. I want to tell y'all the good stuff. I want to tell you the not so good stuff, right? Because it's about painting a realistic picture. You know what I'm saying? So, do I love Kenya? Yes, I do. Do Kenya get on my nerves sometimes? Yes. Is it a struggle sometimes? Yes. But that's going to be anywhere you move, because when you move abroad, you're going to have to go through some changes and you're going to have to go through some adjustments, right? That is a part of the process. So since I'm here, I want to talk to you guys about some of the emotional things that you may go through when you move abroad, okay? So one of the first things that you go through, right? When you first move abroad, you go through the honeymoon phase. Everything is amazing, right? Like, it's almost like you're a tourist. You are in the honeymoon phase. You are enjoying your new country. You are, you're excited about the languages and the different foods and the people and, all of those things. That is the honeymoon phase of moving abroad, okay? And so after you, wait, hold on, y'all, because see, I'm trying to do this off the top of my head, but I did write me some notes. So anyway, so when you're going through the honeymoon phase, listen, we all do it. And you know what? And I'm not going to just talk about moving abroad. I want to talk about Africa, because I'm talking to African people about Africa, right? So I want to talk about Africa. So when you come, it's beautiful. The people, the welcome home, learn the language, Habariako, all those things, right? It's so exciting, right? The feeling, seeing Black people everywhere. It is so exciting when you first come. The honeymoon phase can last a short period of time, or it can last a year, right? The honeymoon phase, because it just depends on the person. Actually, for me, the honeymoon phase lasted a long time, right? The honeymoon phase lasted a long time. But so when you move abroad, there's a lot of excitement, okay? Now, if you are an American moving to Africa, within the honeymoon phase, if somebody, when you're tipping $10, $20, when you have to, if you take them a tattoo or whatever, and you're like, oh, that's all it costs. Oh, I'm gonna give more. I'm gonna give more money. Yay! Because I'm in Africa and that's what I'm supposed to do. Give money, give my paycheck. They ain't gonna last long, but okay. So that's a part of the honeymoon phase, guys. So after you go through the honeymoon phase, then you may go into this, into grief, right? What comes along with the grief, it's kind of like, oh, I feel a little homesick. You may feel lonely because you start missing your friends back home. If you're looking at Facebook and you're looking at pictures and you've seen all the activities and all that stuff that's going on, you may start feeling some sadness, kind of missing your old life, missing your family, you're missing birthday parties and you're missing the holidays and all of those things, right? And so you might start feeling a little grief, although it's a good decision. Although you made the best decision, right? It's something that you really wanted to do, but then you start kind of questioning yourself, like, oh, did I make the right decision? I don't know, right? So that's kind of like that grief stage. You may start feeling a little grief because you're missing home and you're missing family, okay? And so after you go through that grief stage, then you may go into like the culture shock and frustration. The culture shock and the frustration. Listen, wait, y'all. Hold on. So, okay, family. So the culture shock and the frustration. Look, this is a huge one because when you are in the frustration stage of moving abroad and you get to that part of frustration and culture shock, you really start doubting your decision. You may even contemplate moving back home or moving to another country, okay? And so I'm going to share, just some of the experiences that I've had and some of the experiences that some of my friends have had, right? And so in Africa, I think we all go through this culture shock frustration stage. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I thought I had went through it. Like I honestly, because I've been here almost 2 years, I thought I went through all the stages, right? And I'm at that final stage, but I realized that I'm not. So I have been in between I'm in the frustration. I think the frustration stage, right? Because after the honeymoon, phase wear off and you go through your little, your grief and your homesickness, you become, and you start settling in more, there's culture shock and then there's frustration that sets in. And I want you guys to understand, me discussing culture shock and frustration, I'm not saying that my country is better or the way I do things is better than wherever I am. What I'm saying is it's just different. There's no one place is better than the other. But because, I am an African American, so I'm born and I'm raised in America. Regardless of how much America upsets us and, all these things, at the end of the day, we are born and we're raised in America and we are a part of that American, culture. We're African, but we're also American. And so the culture shock, y'all, like in that frustration stage. I'm gonna call it frustration. I feel like I was in that phase, and I may be in it just a little bit, so the frustration is, I'm gonna say, as an African American living in Africa, right? So when you're in that frustration stage, like, a lot of realities start setting in, right? And so you begin to see things a little different, because it's not the honeymoon, you're not, grieving, but now it's like, wow, like, things really start setting in for you. And so for me, as an African American, it's frustrating not being able to build authentic relationships with local Kenyans. And when I'm not talking about basically like the Kenyans who lived in the West, because I do have some good relationships, right? But and I have interacted with Kenyans, but as a whole, because African Americans are really not, we don't think tribal. So we think all of us, are the same. If your skin is black, because we grew up in a society that focused so much on race, which is appearance, being, a black person, an African American, right? And so we focus so much on, we were raised in a culture that focused so much on race, and we think more racism than tribalism. So when you think about race, like, we think when we come to Africa, it's like, well, we're all the same. We're all the same people, but we're not all the same people. And I'm gonna do I have another video that I will be doing where I'm gonna go more into details about this, right? So the reality is, we're not the same people. We're no more the same people than the Kikuyu and the Nayalot are the same, right? And so that's our frustration. We don't realize that, you're moving to an environment where most of the people will see you as a dollar sign. That's frustrating. When you go to markets, they're going to raise the prices as soon as they hear your accent, because you're really technically an outsider. You're a foreigner. That's frustrating. That's frustrating for an African American to come to Africa and to be seen as a foreigner. That's frustrating. That it is annoying. It is so annoying. It is so frustrating. It is so disappointing. It is so disappointing to be seen as a foreigner in Africa. And so that frustration stage start kicking in. And you have to, you should allow yourself to be angry about it. Just kind of like how the Bible talks about, be angry but sin not, right? So you do have to allow your feelings and your emotions about it to come up. That's why we have communities and friends to talk to and that sort of thing, so that you can express these feelings and all of these frustrations, right? And so it is very, very, very frustrating that you really cannot build an authentic, just a genuine relationship, because you're not seen. You're seen as a dollar sign. So it's unfortunate. Not all Kenyans see you as a dollar sign, right? I find that a lot of the Kenyans who have lived in the West for an extended period of time, they come back home and they experience the same things that we do. And so the same as Ghanaians, who live in the West for an extended period of time, and they go back to their country, they have some of the same challenges, right? And so, but it is, nevertheless, it's still frustrating. You cannot take away feelings and emotions, right? And so people should have the right to, say, I'm frustrated, it's annoying, right? And so that's the frustrating stage, because it just doesn't feel good, not to feel accepted into a society, right? And so, and we don't expect that when we come to Africa, but that's the reality. They don't know you. They don't know you. They just hear your accent, right? So we go through the frustration stages of grief. Even when we're doing business, when we're getting services done, it does get frustrating, because to get some services done, you may have to get that project repeated, several times before it's how you want it to be. And it's not because you're better. I don't know how, I hate that I have to do this, but I have to do it because I realize that when I speak like this, people think I'm saying that I'm better. And I'm not, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's different, right? And so for services, when we get services done, I know I'm learning, I'll say this, I'm learning how to communicate in such a way to where I don't have to keep sending stuff back over and over and over again until it's done to my satisfaction, right? I'm learning how to communicate in a very specific way on the front end. And so, and not making assumptions, oh, okay, I don't have to say that. People know that, right? Making assumptions that people know what I'm talking about when they don't. So that's a part of the culture. Like, you have to understand the culture that you're in. You have to understand how to do business. Even when you want services done, there's a particular way that you have to communicate. And so that's frustrating. That's a culture shock. And that can be frustrating. There's several culture shocks, right? But these are the ones that's just kind of sticking out to me. So going at that frustration, that disappointing, I think that's the frustration. I think I've been in that stage, but I'm also seeing where I'm moving. So then you move to a stage of where it's like, okay, I'm frustrated. Well, let me back up. I'm in my honeymoon stage. I'm excited about the language. I'm, eating the food, loving the people, all those things. Then I'm grieving. I'm feeling a little homesick. I miss my family. I miss birthdays and events that I did in America. I'm missing all of those things. And then now I'm getting into this frustration, I'm thinking about, do I want to go back? Do I want to stay here? I'm tired. This is frustrating. I'm tired of seeing a particular way. Then we go to our adjustment phase. And so in the adjustment phase, we start, kind of getting our groove a little bit. You start getting your groove. You're navigating spaces a little better. It's like, okay, I know my way around. I know how to communicate. I'm kind of getting my groove a little bit. Now I'm excited. So I've gone through my frustration. So now I'm ready to get back into, learning Kiswahili, and, I'm kind of, I'm getting my groove. Okay, this is starting to feel good again, right? And so that's the stages where you're starting to adjust. You're not as frustrated anymore, because now you're learning how to navigate, right? You're starting to get a little bit more comfortable. You've accepted the culture. You accepted this is what it is, and all of those things. So that's the adjustment stage. Then we get to the stage of acceptance, okay? And so acceptance it is what it is. This is my new home. This is my new environment. Look, I'm gonna thrive here. This is what it is. I'm not expecting it to be anything other than what it is. It's not better, it's not worse, it just is, right? And so you just kind of accept, and it's just kind of like, look, if I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna be here. I've adjusted, this is where I am, right? And so I feel so for me personally, well, let me go back and let me review the stages. So you have your honeymoon stage, you have your grief stage, You have your frustration stage. You have your adjusting stage. Then you get to the place of acceptance. I currently, after being here almost 2 years, today, in this moment, I feel like I'm in between frustration and adjustment. I'm between frustration and adjustment. The honeymoon is over. The honeymoon is over, okay? You know, and so do you still love the place? Yeah, all those things, but then you do go through the period of frustration. Now, this is just not for African Americans. This is the African diaspora. If you live in the West, or if you're even if you live in Kenya, even if you are Kenyan and you were born and raised in Kenya, if you move to America, you would still go through these stages, because this is about adjusting to your new country and some of the things that you may go through emotionally when you leave your home country and you move to another country, right? So this is just not for African Americans moving to Africa, right? This is for anyone that's moving to a country that is not their home country. There are emotions that come along with it. If you are Kenyan and you move to America, there's going to be emotions. You're going to be excited to be there. Then you're going to start missing your home, your village, your family, how things are done. You're going to go through this culture shock. You're going to be frustrated because you're not going to understand how America operates, and it's not what you expected, and all of those things. And then also you're going to go through that period of making your adjustments, get settled into that environment, and then you'll get to the place of acceptance. So these tips are helpful for moving abroad, period. Okay, these are emotions. These are the different emotions that you may go through, right? And so if you're experiencing these emotions, it doesn't mean that you abandon mission and go back to your home country. No, it's just a process. It's just transition. And because you might feel some negative emotions regarding your transition, it doesn't mean you didn't make the right decision. It just means that you have to allow yourself and allow your mind to process this new life and this new environment. And so I hope this has been helpful. If you are an expat, regardless to where you live in the world, right? Tell me, did you experience any of these emotions when you move to your prospective country? If you are in the African diaspora, did you experience these emotions when you moved, when you left your home country, right? And so anyway, so y'all let me know. Drop a comment down in the comments and tell me if you've experienced any of these emotions. Again, I'm not saying everybody, but for the most part, when you leave a place of being comfortable and then you transition, there's some emotions that come along with that, right? And so the goal is to allow yourself to go through the different stages, to process your emotions, right? To allow these feelings to come up. Talk to someone. You can talk to other expats about it. You can talk to a life coach. You can talk to a therapist. I'm a therapist and a life coach, right? And so if you are an expat or thinking about being an expat and want to be able to process some things emotionally, reach out to me. You can reach me at Karen Smith at infinity8llc.com. Karen Smith at infinity8llc.com. My information is in the description box, okay? And so I love you guys so much. I hope this is helpful for you, and I wish you well on your journey. And family, I am going to be back. I'm swimming back. So I'm going to try to, get more and more videos out here because I miss y'all so much. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Please like and subscribe, share this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Bye.